so that we can, oh, and I just hit the record button. So as long as that's okay with you that we do the recording, and I can let you hear it before it goes live if you like. And that way, if you want to modify anything or delete anything, you can.
Okay.
And then otherwise we'll just use it.
That sounds great. I'm good with that. As we begin, are you going to ask me to introduce myself at all, or how does that part work?
I'll do the introduction.
Great.
And what you can do is just, give a short response to my greeting. Then I want to say how I've used your technology
Okay, good.
and benefited me. And then you can jump in and I might prompt you with a question, or if you just feel like you're flowing and you want to keep going, that's great. I may at some point say, hold on a second, can you explain that more, or something like that too.
Sure. Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right, here we go. 5,
Okay.
4. Hi, friends. This is Dr. Nancy Trimbley, putting the power and knowledge of your health back in your hands. And we have an interview today. This is a woman who is going to explain to us a technology that I have used personally to help myself. And for reasons that are known to you or maybe unknown to you, I am not mentioning her name, her business, or even you will not be able to even see a photo or image of her. In this world today, those of us that are on the fringes in this holistic, unconventional healthcare region have to be careful so that we can continue to give our people the care that they need so they can be truly healthy. If you want to use her services, you would have to contact me at my office directly, and I would be happy to direct you. So for this technology, I kind of stumbled upon it when I had Lyme disease. I had acute Lyme disease in 2018 and went through the traditional medical care. And when that failed me after about 3 weeks, I started to search for other solutions. So one of those solutions, amongst many, was these 2 apparatus, actually 3 apparatus that will be described to you, which took me to close to 95, if not 98% better. I was hovering around 60 to 75% better with my Lyme disease. And these things help to get rid of the toxins in my body so that I could completely heal. So I'm going to call my guest from here on out, and I'm going to ask if she can give you some of her background in her field.
Well, hi, Dr. Nancy. I would be happy to. Thank you for that introduction. Yes, so after using the equipment myself for several years at other facilities, I purchased my own set of these 3 units in 2018 and became certified in the
Hold on,
bioresonance
time out. I am just noticing, I'm looking at what's on my screen, and there's your name. So we'll start again. And this is what I want you to do. I'm going to have you go to video settings.
Okay.
Oh, here we go. Oh, I think I can always display. Yes, we show video then join you. Hi, non-video participants. Okay. Oh, we show video preview dialogue. Okay, I think that's okay. All right, let's see what happens.
Good thing you saw that.
I know. Rename. There you go. I'm going to rename you to guest.
There you go.
Guest, and I'm going to write Hypertherm Cocoon. Oops, spelled that wrong. Cocoon.
Cocoon, right?
Okay. Yes.
Cocoon, right.
And what I'll call it the infrared bed. And
Yes.
how do you want to,
so the other one, we could call it the bioresonance. So bio, and then RESONANCE.
All right. Okay, that's your name now. All right. We
Okay,
will
that's my
start
name.
over. And
Okay,
I'll do my I'll do my intro like I said I was going to do this time. I'll
you,
pause and let you say hi.
you're such a natural.
I know. I like doing this. It's fun.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I will.
All right.
Okay.
Here we go. 5, 4. Hi, friends. Dr. Nancy Trimbley here, putting the power and knowledge of your health back in your hands. I am here today with a guest who is going to talk to you about 3 technologies that I have used in the past to help myself. So, hello, guest.
Hello, Dr. Nancy. Thank you for having me on.
You are welcome. We've been talking about doing this for some time, and you and I have really crossed paths in a major way lately to allow my office to have your technology in-house. For those of you that are wondering why I'm calling my guest is because some of us on the fringes of unconventional or holistic healthcare these days have to watch ourselves because the powers that be actually don't want you to be healthy and whole. They want you to be broken and diseased, which is why the conventional medical care model, pharmaceutical model, the horrible food choices that are mostly available in the United States seem to predominate and also seem to predominate what we call healthcare, which is really disease care. So those of us that are on the fringes need to be careful so that we can continue to provide to our people the health or the health services and the care that they need to get truly healthy. So I used my guess technology when I was recovering from Lyme disease in 2018. I had acute Lyme disease, meaning I saw the tick, I had the bullseye, I got the usual medical care pretty much immediately. But when they failed me after about 3 weeks and I was in dire straits, I started to turn to holistic methods. And I got myself to about maybe 60 to 75% better. And then my guest helped me the rest of the way to get to close to 95, if not 98% better with my Lyme disease. And it did take a long time. It took me a full year to get to that point, but I'm excited to be back to 99.5% better now. So take it away, guest, and tell us about your background in this field.
Absolutely. This is so encouraging to hear your update and your story too. And it just encourages me to continue on with doing what I do. But similar story for me, actually, I was diagnosed with chronic Lyme in 2015. So that I'm going to get into that a little bit later. But as far as my background in this equipment, after I've stumbled upon the equipment in other facilities, some a little distance to drive, and used them there for a few years. And actually, I was noticing such a improvement in my own health that in 2018, I was actually able to purchase my own. I became certified in the bioresonance scanner frequency, which I bought through a company out of Ukraine called Sensitive Imago. And the training was led by a Russian doctor from that company. We did that via Zoom. It took about a month to get the training, and then I became more adept at it with hands-on.
Excellent. Wow. So you had to reach far and wide to start to solve your own problems.
Yes, I absolutely did. It's a pretty long story.
Yeah, I know it's a lot because you and I have talked about it many times. What about that was the bioresonance? What about the hypertherm cocoon and the infrared bed?
Yeah, so the hypertherm was actually introduced to me from just an old friend from high school. He reached out. He had opened a spa in Indianapolis with the Hypertherm units. And even though they're used for spa related reasons as well, they're definitely for medical as well. His spa was more geared toward towards, more like estheticians and just like overall wellness. But he invited me down because he knew what these units were capable of doing. So I was actually driving I live South Side, Northwest Indiana, South Side Chicago, and I was driving to Indy at least once every 3 weeks to get the benefit of the Cocoon. That's how much difference it made me feel using that
Mhm.
heat Hypertherm.
So that's 3 hours
And
one way for those of you that don't live in this area. So, and just notice how much it can take, how far and wide you have to seek to find your own wellness. And Deb is one of those people that's become her own best expert. So then I guess you found a way to get your own units.
I did. He actually, this friend actually ended up, he's an entrepreneur businessman, and he went into another line of work and was selling off the units, and I was able to get one through him. And then the infrared bed came from a local esthetician. She was just not utilizing as much as she knew she should be, and she was tired of just kind of storing it, I guess. And it has been so healing. And I just love that we're able to offer those right here together in one space.
Yes, and just to clear up any confusion for my listeners, because I know these are words that maybe they've never heard before.
Yeah.
So hypertherm, if we break down that word, it's excess heat, hypertherm. And it is a cocoon. So I'm going to share my screen so that you out there can see what this would look like. It looks like a spaceship kind of missile thing that you climb into, and you lay in it like a tanning bed, right?
Exactly. Yeah, you lay in it with your face up and your head is exposed to the air. So there's no concern for claustrophobia.
Right.
Um, and you actually control the heat from inside the unit during the 35-minute session. So if you're feeling too warm for yourself, you have the ability to go up and down with heat and massage, because the mat that you're lying on, it actually shimmies. You get that lymphatic drainage benefit as well, but you're controlling and or turning it completely off the heat and or the massage part.
So the hypertherm, what's the theory, and how hot does it actually get, or how hot can it get? And what's the theory behind the hypertherm?
So the hypertherm can get up to 190 degrees. Um, Generally, that's up to the person. They choose to do that. You also have the option to wear disposable sauna suit, which induces additional sweating.
Which is
So
like a plastic suit. And you know me, I'm all out. I'm like, give me everything all the time. So I turn up as high as it'll go, and I put on a
yeah,
plastic suit. And it's a little rough getting out of there sometimes, because it does not really drain you, but you're like, it's like a huge workout.
it really is. It really is. It actually even, as you know, has the armbands in there for people who are going in for fitness reasons. Now,
they can
people like
they
with
can
me,
work out. I don't do that.
yeah,
I'm not that crazy.
no, I'm hot enough just lying in there with the suit on. I always use the suit as well.
Hmm.
But
So what's the benefits like? I mean, I know I've felt the benefits, but what's happening with our bodies when we're in this possibly as high as 190-degree
yeah,
heat?
yeah. So that heat is actually instigating. It's encouraging like blood flow. So you get the blood circulating. Your body just warms up, oxygenating the cells, which our cells run off oxygen. So our cells have the nucleus with the energy in the center. So it's just oxygenating that, reducing inflammation, sweating out all those toxins. So many people tell me they have edema with like swelling in their body or water retention. And
Hmm.
this is just miraculous for that.
I
For
think
sure.
that's what it was for me. I think my liver was so toxic and backed up.
Yes.
That's why I got the Lyme disease as bad as I did, and that's why the hypertherm helped me so much. I was getting rid of the toxins, getting them out of every cell and letting my liver then work better, because it wasn't dealing with all these toxins. Some of them were exiting through all that sweat.
That is exactly how I feel too, because the liver does get such a tremendous workout with dealing with even general health in the world that we live in today, let alone if you're inundated with Lyme or some kind of virus or anything like that. Even, colds and flus can just bog you down. So if you take that pressure, like that burden off the liver can actually kind of function like it's meant to be, right?
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. It's I know this might be a little bit off track, but I remember the day after I used the Hypertherm the first time, I felt so joyful, like I
Yeah.
had never felt before.
Okay. Yeah, that's awesome. So, liver, as Chinese medicine teaches, that emotions are tied to our organs too. So, the healthier we are, the better we feel overall, just that feel good emotions are able to shine through.
I think that's so true. So before we move on to the infrared, then to discuss that, anything else you want to touch on with the Hypertherm Cocoon?
I do want to mention that some people who reach out to me are concerned about that high heat. And I just want to reiterate that you do not have to wear the sauna suit. You can experience more of a session where you're just warmed up, or maybe you're going in for the relaxation aspect of it. It still is doing a lot of healing in that way as well.
True. Yes. Yeah. I like people ask me about that with adjustments. Like, well, what if I can only afford to come in twice a month instead of twice a week? And my answer
Right.
is always, you do what you can, because one adjustment is better than never being adjusted.
Yes, I completely agree. I always say that too when they ask me, how often should I do this? And I think, the it depends what you're treating, but also it's never good if you're stressing yourself out, or like you're like, oh, I have to get in X amount of time. That's just defeating the whole purpose of why you're coming in.
Right.
So
Exactly.
yeah.
Mhm.
So it's
So
all about like time, energy, and money. Take it all into account. That's what I
very true. Very true. All right. So tell me about the infrared bed. I've been in it, so I know it looks like a standard, typical tanning bed. Um, but it's the bulbs that are different, right?
You are right. So it is actually an old tanning bed, but the bulbs are replaced with infrared slash red light. And the awesome thing is it's your full body, so your brain is getting the benefits, your head to toe, everything is getting hit by these bulbs, the bottom of you and the top of you. And that is a 20-minute session, one temperature. I like to tag team, go the pod first and then the infrareds, because you're warmed up and your pores are open, and then you towel off and go in the infrared. To me, that just feels the best. But you certainly can do them standalone as well.
Gotcha.
Yeah. There's a fan that runs continually by the bottom of your feet in that one. And in the Hypertherm, there's fans by your sides of your face. So you do get, cooling aspect that way. They're both very comfortable. The infrared is really to reduce inflammation, topical skin health, people that are dealing with different skin issues. Um, those people who want to address wrinkles and cellulite, things like that too. It's meant to treat that as well.
Interesting. I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah.
And if you think about the skin being what's called an excretory organ, meaning like when you sweat toxins out, is because that's what your skin is meant to do. It's meant to get rid of the toxins. So is the infrared also working in that way too with the skin?
It is definitely. So you'll have a light amount of detox with sweat, but it's certainly, the skin is one of our largest detox organs, so the bulbs reach not just topical, but cellular. So
Ah, I see, because it's a different wavelength.
correct.
Right, right,
Correct.
right, right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So your cell is all about, all three things that I offer actually very much orientated to cell health, because that's
Cell health, exactly.
cell. Yes.
Because when we get the when the cells are functioning better, when each individual cell and each individual organ is functioning at its optimum, then the body can do what it's intended to do and heal itself and function at an optimal level. It's not this myopic approach, which is medical care, which is saying what's happening with the thyroid, and we're only going to look at the
Yeah.
thyroid. And that's
Yes.
just not how the body works.
It's so true. It's the whole body synchronized together. So the tricky part is people a lot of times don't know what to treat because they're not able to get their answer. So that's what makes it so challenging in our world that we're in. But these two things, you don't really have to know because they're going to do what they're meant to do without having specifics.
Right. Your body knows. Like I like to say, remove the obstacles to healing, give your body what it needs, and then it will do everything it can do. And miracles, that's how miracles happen.
Yes, miracles
Mhm.
do happen for sure. We're seeing them.
So
Got
we've
it.
covered the hypertherm cocoon, we've covered the infrared bed. And then tell me about the bioresonance.
Okay, the bioresonance is a frequency scanner. It has a software program in the nucleus of it. The way it looks is I work off the laptop, but the client has headphones on and their hands are on a sensor pad. So the software program actually, well, after an intake and we create a card file for the client, we go through a list of ailments and the client tells me what they're experiencing, what's priority for them as far as if they have any of the problems listed. And then I choose which organs we're going to check. They put headphones on their ears and their hands on these sensor pads. And then the way it works is through sound and wavelengths that get sent through the headphones to the client's brain. And the brain sends that out through the rest of the body to get a reading of where these cells are functioning at. So cells all should be at certain specific frequency vibrations, and the frequency scanner can pick up on what imbalances are happening and why they may be happening. So it's kind of like the opera story where there's a tone and the certain pitch can shatter the glass. It's
Mhm.
tone and vibration all works because we're made up of energy. So it's an energy system to address the health of the cells of the client.
Excellent. So you can use any of these three technologies with a specific end goal in mind, but also just for general wellness.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Yes. Um, there, the more proactive you are, the better off that you are in the long run, of course. Unfortunately for me, I ended up being in the reactive state. So it took longer to rectify, but my this particular system shows color codes as far as how everything is communicating, the cells are communicating, and the balance in the organs. And when I first started with the system, I was showing stress everywhere in the body, and now it's balanced. So
And
between system, the beds, nutrition, chiropractic,
mhm,
etc. It's
etc.
coming.
Right, right. In what in this world today, I think people are so used to being so sickly that when we get to that crisis point where we literally cannot function is when we start to say, okay, how do we rebuild this? And the rebuild luckily doesn't take as long as it took us to get to that point, but it can take months and years. Our bodies are on their own time schedule. We're so used to driving up to one window and handing over a few dollars and getting breakfast, driving up to another window, putting a card in and getting $300. Like everything is instant. Our body
Yeah,
doesn't work like that.
that is that is very true. Wow.
So tell me this, just so my listeners can get an idea, what is like some of your favorite clients that you've worked with over the years?
Well, you know what? The type who really simply are just open-minded and really looking to learn and be educated. I think if you have that type of mindset, you're going to be open to what these systems can do and how you can implement them into your own personal day. So it works regardless if the person's going to be open-minded or not, but it's more pleasant to work with the people who are actually, more open-minded. And it can take time to, you can have, it's a process of learning. Even for me, it was a process of learning. I didn't grow up learning any of these things. We were follow the very traditional path of youth, and even as my young married life and raising our kids, it was all very traditional. And so it's been a process, but once you start feeling the benefits, it's like you really don't have to think about it anymore. It's just mind blowing.
True.
It can take time, but when you feel it, it's so exhilarating. You want more. So
Right. Like,
yeah,
that there's true wellness happening. There's true
yeah,
healing happening. You're not covering up a symptom with a drug or
right.
cutting an organ out and then have to deal with that. You are truly healing, which, yeah. And weirdly enough, it takes somebody that's willing to want to learn more and is willing to be patient and spend the time and money to get to that point. They maybe been down a rough road already with conventional medical care and they're like, no more.
Exactly. Yes, for sure. Yes.
So tell me about a typical first visit for you.
Sure. So a first visit with so we'll address it two ways. If you're coming in and you want to do the bioresonance scanner, first visit would be simply we chat a little bit, get to know each other a little bit, and then I take an intake format of them, which is very simple, just their general information. But then we go through with the computer software. It's all on a screen in front of them. We share screens, and you're seeing the organs and what could be possibly going on in a person's body. And then they're sharing with me, oh yeah, that is true for me. I have, poor sleep, or I, have stress in this organ, that type of thing. So I'm filling that in, making some checks. And then I set up the system to scan a whole host of organs in their bodies, and they're comfortably sitting in a chair with the headphones and hands on the sensor pad. So it's harmless, it's non-invasive. You don't have to do a big prep ahead of time. I just ask that the cells are hydrated with water, not dehydrated, and that you don't eat a bunch of food before you come, just kind of have a more emptier stomach. And the system is, you can perform this on anyone besides those who have a pacemaker or defibrillator, if they're pregnant or have a history of seizures, because those things would have contraindications with the frequency. So that's how that works with that appointment. And then they'll see the colors roll through the screen in front of them of how their cells are balanced or non-balanced. And the system is taking all their information and saving it into a card file, which then I send them on their way. And I ask for a week to compile their report, and they get back a full report with information like food sensitivities, toxic burden on their body, exposure to mold and or heavy metals, things that their body is holding on to that could even be from a long time ago.
Wow, it covers so many bases. Thinking about some of my patients that have, had to go to get this test done for food sensitivities, get this test done for heavy metals, get this test done for everything else. This compiles like such a nice picture of everything.
Yes, exactly, which is really, really cool. And it's so fast. This is all done within an hour appointment. So time means a lot for people. And they're not having to mail things off, waiting on labs to come back. Within a week, they get a lot of information. So then I will give them the option if they want to come back in for future appointments, they can actually receive energy through the system back into their body.
So receive energy, meaning reset that frequency pattern.
Yes, Dr. Nancy, exactly. And that's all done through the software program because it knows where their cells should be at and why they're off. And I'm trained to just operate the computer. So it's a very simple process. It's fascinating because they can see their balance raise through an appointment. Typically, it's very evident. Now, it could fall back a little bit once they get back out into their life in real world, of course, because it takes a while for your body to just rectify. But the more you do it and the more you go along and add in good nutrition and stay away from those foods that may be bothering your body, the more it's going to continue to hold. So.
I have a selfish question to ask. I had my scan done, sorry, maybe about, I don't know, was it 2 years ago? Maybe almost 3.
Yeah.
And I did it for a while. Of course, the big shutdown of 2020 kind of stalled everything. Should I maybe get the retest done to see where I'm at now?
I do suggest it. I think it's just good information to have for your arsenal because you have your old test results in your file, and then you can see how you continue to progress and maybe get a tip on what you could be tweaking now versus then.
Right.
So I do that.
Okay.
Sure.
Good.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. And then as far as the first appointment with the beds, it's just such a simple procedure. You just come in and it can give you a tutorial of the room and how the beds run, which is pretty much a push of a button.
Mm-hmm.
And I just get them acclimated to the room, and then we proceed to decide on the sauna suit or no. And I leave them in their quiet space, and they have privacy and pretty much have like a little oasis time to themselves for an hour and 15 minutes. I do block off an hour and a half time slots to give everybody enough time to, enjoy it and not feel rushed. And then they either decide afterwards whether they want to come back for single sessions or get a monthly membership. And with a monthly membership, that allows them to, all the scheduling is done directly with me, but with a membership, they have a self access to the room, meaning I don't have to meet them there. So they're shown how that all works, and it's very flexible and very quiet for them. Because depending how many times you wanted to use it, if you came more than 3 or 4 times a month, it'd be more cost effective to just get the membership and utilize it as often as you choose.
So true. That's what I did when I was going a lot. Yes, definitely. So, with all this stuff together, I know for me, when I was challenged with Lyme, that first session, I just felt so amazing. And then I continued to go for months. I feel like through the summer, through the winter, I was very, I must have been feeling much, much better with it because I made it a point to go. Like my day would revolve around that. I would call it a sweat. I got to go for a sweat.
Yes.
And then also with the bioresonance doing that, How long does it take for a typical person that's coming in with various issues to notice a difference?
Well, generally, you can start feeling something pretty quickly. There's shifts that happen. It just depends how big these shifts are. The more things that are going on, it's going to take longer. You may go through some healing crises because, as we know, when you're healing from the root causes, it simply is eradicating the problem. You're getting rid of it. So that can be,
Like
you may.
you might have a little flare up of symptoms or relive some old patterns temporarily.
Yes, 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 like that retracing of the old pattern to then be done with that. So typically, I would say people like to come if they're treating something, it can sometimes be once a week um, for the bioresonance. And that it certainly varies. And I have people that just like to come on a regular basis because they know it's good for them. They feel the difference. And so they kind of miss it when they're not able to utilize it. But then others that are pretty good with just let me come every month or every other month and I'm good to go. And then I'll see you when, I'm starting to feel sluggish. So that can vary. And then
Mhm.
the beds, I really think exactly like you explained, if you're treating something or maybe taking a cleanse or supplement line to help your body rectify, you're going to need it more often. Or say you have a high stress job, it just really takes you down to where you need to be. So it can.
Good. Mhm. Um, so, sometimes people will confuse me as a chiropractor with physical therapy. Like they're not really like clear on that there's a very distinct difference between what we do. Is there any other fields that somebody might confuse you with?
Um, I think I'm pretty standalone as far as what I offer. I do always stress that I'm not a naturopath. I'm not a nutritionist. I have a lot of knowledge in those areas, but if I find something that I feel like a person needs more one-on-one with, and they're asking me more that's outside of my realm, then I will refer to them outside to other places that I may be gone to or know in the area that are well known. But there's other ones that may be certified in bioresonance, but there's not a lot of bioresonance technicians that actually can put energy back into the person's body. There's ones out there where you can get a report, but then it's mainly they send you out the door with supplementation and not offer you to come back in to get the follow up. So I found that very interesting with the system in particular when I was going, and that's why I bought this one actually. So I found it very healing to get that energy back at that core cell level. You
Yes,
know.
yes, yes. Fascinating. That's great. That's great. Um, so for you, I know you see people from a broad range of issues and backgrounds. What are some of the things that people have tried in the past that weren't working for them for their issues?
Oh boy. Well, I think that a lot of times people have to, have come off of the traditional medicine route and realize like now they may have more side effects. They don't really feel like that root cause is gone or healing. So they're open minded to finding more alternative choices and answers at that deeper level. I do prefer to find the root cause and just so that the body has a chance at healing from the inside out. I think combining, since I am rather a standalone practice, combining me with other alternative therapists and chiropractors and things like that is a really a win-win. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because it all works towards optimal wellness, just in different avenues, getting rid of different obstacles or adding things that the body might need.
Yes, exactly. For sure.
Hmm. Is there anything else you'd like to add to what we've been talking about?
Mm. So much in my mind, but we covered quite a bit. Um, I really want to reiterate for people not to give up. I mean, I tried so many different avenues and had so many roadblocks and so many things that didn't make a difference, but just really listening and kind of tuning into your own body and surrounding yourself with like-minded people, gleaning from those that have gone through things before you, um, continuing to educate yourself, read the books. You have a great book.
Thank
I
you.
Yes, I love your book. Um, I love learning. Just, I have a book about the healthy home. It's just about how to make changes within your own home. Um, the Suzanne Summers book, which is about not being from toxic to not sick. Love her book. It's always resonated with me. It's similar to yours, where it's like interviews through it. There's a lot of that. And just, yeah, I just feel like just don't give up. Just continue to find the light in the good places and don't, you're going to get discouraged. I have as well, but you just kind of just keep plugging away.
Awesome. It's so true. You just have to keep peeling away the layers of the onion.
Yeah.
And health is a journey. There is no destination. It's just the journey that we take.
Yes, absolutely. That's what it is.
Well, this has been awesome. I am so glad we were able to do this. I think it will really highlight for people what the benefits are. And I know that 90% of the people that listen to this will never have heard of a hypertherm cocoon. So I always love being on the bleeding edge. So thanks so much for being in my life and for the time. And I know we'll work together in the future.
Thank you for being in my life as well, Dr. Nancy. You made a world of difference for me, and I'm thankful and very excited for your people to hear what we had to say.
Awesome. All right. All right, everybody. Be well. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.